Hello, my name is Glenn Dyer, and you are watching a Dyer-Situation. Today, I'm seeing Resident Evil, the final-ish chapter. Supposedly, the last Resident Evil movie. Just like, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, was the last Friday the 13th. In other words, I don't buy it. So, how many fucking movies are in this series? 7? 6? Too damn many. And, what makes it even more difficult is that it's one of those series that never ever names them by number, so it's never Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, 4, it's Resident Evil, and then Resident Evil, Alakazam, Resident Evil, Dark Scary Things, Resident Evil, Revengeance, you know, just, each movie is distinguished by its subtitle. So, it's impossible to tell just how many there have been, or which ones you need to watch, and in what order you need to watch without putting in a little research. Which I hate, but a lot of movies do that. It's just when it's a movie series like this that has like 6 or 7 movies, it becomes a little extreme. Yeah. So, I hate this franchise. You heard me right. I didn't just say I hate these movies. I hate this franchise. There is nothing about Resident Evil that I have enjoyed. I saw the very first movie. That was the only movie in the series I've seen so far. And I thought it was awful. I thought that the acting was really stilted. I thought the action scenes in it were ludicrous. I thought the special effects were terrible, even for the time. And I just generally didn't like the style or the look. And I'm told that that is far and away the best. And I've seen reviews of the other ones, so I know what happened. And that is for the games this is based on. I'm told all the ones after 4, I think it was 4, are awful. And I've seen the ones leading up to 4, and I think those are awful. Like the first game, it would drive me freaking nuts with that camera. And the voice acting, and everything else. Oh god. I don't even like thinking of that first game. And then, like, I think 4 is supposed to be the best, but even then, I'm just like, I think this is terrible. So, yeah, so far, I don't think there's a Resident Evil product that I like. No, wait, there is one thing. There was a trailer for the first Resident Evil game, where some guy's walking down a hall, and then he gets attacked by a monster. And it's really cool 90s cheese. I like that. That's the only product that comes to mind from Resident Evil that I enjoy. So there you go. So as you can tell, not only am I coming into this from a person who doesn't know much about the series, I'm coming into this as a person who actively dislikes the series. So, this ought to be pretty fun for me. So let's see it. So, you know how I mentioned that one time that whenever something plot-wise comes up, and it doesn't make any sense, or just something I notice, and I'm like, I have to remember this for the review, right? I go by like a finger system, and I hold up however many fingers there are of things I need to remember. I mentioned this in Rogue One, I got like 5 or 7 or something like that. With this movie, I lost count. I am inevitably going to miss things that made no fucking sense. Because there was so many. This is not the kind of movie I would review, but, well, actually, maybe it is. The problem is I'd have to see all the other movies, so screw it, I'm not going to do that. But just in and of itself, it is bonkers. Off the rails. So, I guess just right out of the way, I'm going to make some comparisons to Underworld Blood Wars, which just came out, and apparently they have a little tradition of coming out around the same time, and they also involve similar things. It's this one lady dressed up in leather who's a total badass and has magic powers and stuff, and against some supernatural hordes. You know, so similar plot lines. And if I'm just comparing the two. In terms of special effects, Resident Evil definitely wins. I wouldn't exactly call it amazing special effects in this movie. There's definitely some hiccups, but creatures actually look like creatures. It doesn't look like something from one of the Highlander sequels. It's a few steps above that. It's not exactly great special effects, but on the scale, it's better than Underworld in that sense. In terms of editing, they're about on par. Really fast cuts, a lot of shaky cam, a lot of just splices of stuff in there, like just really fast, rapid fire. I guess in order to make you think something cool is going on. Both of them do that. And in terms of plot, in terms of overall cohesiveness of narrative, Underworld is the winner. Yeah, Underworld. I wouldn't exactly call that Shakespeare, but there was a beginning, middle, and end. Where's this fucking movie? Where do I start? I guess I'm just gonna go over like the basic premise here, and just point out things where they come up. So, basic premise as presented to us at the beginning of the movie. There's this evil corporation called Umbrella Corp, right? And they develop this agent to help fight disease, and they call it the Tvirus. See, right off the bat, why did they call a cure a virus? Like, I guess there's a sort of twist partway through the movie to try and explain that, but still, like, you marketed it as a T-virus? That's odd. So, anyway, now the problem with the T-virus is that it mutated in some of the people that they gave it to and turned them into zombies. So apparently this happened in a freaking gondola, like some subject turned to a zombie and attacked people. And so, of course, being an evil corporation, they decided to cover things up, right? And this also involved nuking a town at some point because things just got out of hand, because the T-virus got out or something. So they had it fully contained and in a valve, and then it broke and got out, I guess. And yeah, they had to nuke a whole city, and now the whole world is a post-apocalypse because the virus spread all over, and it's a zombie apocalypse. Yeah. So, premise of this movie is that the AI for the giant underground base that held the virus, it is now teaming up with our heroine to locate this antidote that will supposedly kill all the zombies, like, instantly. And she has to do it in 48 hours. She has to collect the antivirus and set it loose in the world. It travels by air. In 48 hours, because in 48 hours, the last human colony on Earth will be wiped out and all of mankind will be dead. So, I know what you're thinking. If in 48 hours, the virus is... like, the hordes are going to wipe out the last human colony, which we don't know where it is, by the way. They just allude that there must be one, I suppose, by their calculations. if it takes her 48 hours to do it, and she releases the virus, doesn't that mean that by the time the virus spreads around to wherever that colony may be, it could be in China for all we know, that the zombies would have already gone in there and eaten them months before it reaches there? So in other words, we're already screwed. Right off the bat. Right off the fucking bat. There is absolutely no point in what they're doing. And nobody addresses this, by the way. This isn't like a just fight for the sake of fighting kind of story. Like, no, literally everyone's just totally on board. Like, yeah, we'll save the last human remnants on Earth. What? You already lost. There is nothing you can do. If all the humans are going to die in 48 hours, and it takes you over a day to get to this one town, and almost certainly you are not more than a few hours to release the virus, the antivirus, there is no plausible way you are ever going to save anyone. But who cares? I get that the only reason there is a plot at all is to set up the next action scene. I know this because of all the little things that happen in order to get there. Like for instance, at one point she goes to this giant tower, right? She's speeding along on a motorcycle. This is the funniest thing ever. And she sees on top of a tower there's like a flashing light, like a mirror reflecting something. And she looks at it, and then suddenly she rams right into a pole. Okay? And then when she wakes up, she's inside of the tower where there's a group of survivors, right? And they've been holding off the horde or something like that. That they've zombie-proofed the whole thing. And she's got like a day, less than a day, like 20 hours to get to the virus, right? And for some reason, she sticks around in there and helps them fight off an incoming horde. Sticks around inside the tower and helps them fight off an incoming horde. For no particular reason. What she should have done, and what she eventually does do, but once again, not really for any particular reason she decides to do it, but what she should have done from the very get-go is just say, okay, this whole area is we can clean it out of zombies if you just come with me right now and head down into the base and get all the stuff. Which they should have done. They said something about there's like elderly or something in the building, but why would anybody target the building if, our main actress isn't in there? In fact, why did they know to target the building in the first place? We literally get no explanation for that. So right off the bat, she just spends like 10 hours wasting time defending this one tower that they don't need. And I know why it's there. Because they wanted an action scene. At any cost, no matter how stupid, they needed an action scene. So they thought of this action scene involving a tower. And that's how they made it. But the funny part I was mentioning, she got hit by the pole, right? And when she comes to, they mention oh yeah, she ran into one of our zombie traps. And that's how we caught her. Wait, zombie trap? You mean one of your zombie traps was to put a mirror on top of a tower and hope that the zombie was running by so fast that he would decapitate himself on a pole? What kind of fucking trap is that? And also, if that is supposed to be a zombie trap, does that mean she fell for a trap designed to catch something that's literally mindless? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So dumb. Also, how is she alive? I think in the other movies she got superpowers, but then she got them taken away. And they make a point of saying that in this movie she had her superpowers taken away. So how come she was speeding on a motorcycle at 50 miles per hour and hit a pole right in her face and is still alive? What the fuck? But anyway, there's a thing with the company, right? It turns out the company knew the virus was going to kill everybody, right? And it's a part of one of those movie plans where a bunch of rich people are like, we're gonna kill off everybody on the planet because overpopulation is a problem, and then we'll be the only people left, and we can start anew. Yeah, so it's basically the Kingsman logic all over again. But the Kingsman was fun. And also, the main bad guy was clearly insane in that one. In this one, there's a whole boardroom of people, thousands of people, that totally go along with the plan. But the funniest part was when he was pitching the idea, he says, "Yes, the Tvirus. It is a way to induce the apocalypse, but with maximum casualties, but with no damage to but leaving the infrastructure intact." Which is just the funniest thing ever. Leaving the infrastructure intact. Because the whole fucking world looks like Fallout 3. Like, all the buildings are destroyed. All the buildings in the world are just destroyed. It's like, yeah, the infrastructure's totally intact, though. And also, the virus doesn't even work like that from what I know. Like, it can infect animals and stuff too, right? So how is it just meant to take out all the humans? It's like, this is a stupid apocalypse. And as I said, in Kingsman, the guy is clearly insane, right? And that's why he also wouldn't realize that if your whole colony is nothing but thousands of rich people who, like, rich old white people, like, somebody's gotta clean your fucking toilet, you know? If you're gonna kill off, like, billions of people, why not store away, like, a bunch of other people to do your shit for you again? Like, it makes no sense that it's just a bunch of, like they mentioned, it's all just a bunch of rich executives who paid their way into the Ark or something. Well, did they honestly expect to work with their hands after that? Because, you gotta get food from somewhere. So, like, that's why plans like this are just the stupidest thing ever. But, God. But god damn it, those people do end up being the last people on Earth, though. Because if the other human settlements, I presume the non-rich white executive settlements, are being wiped out, there's no way that the antivirus could possibly save them. So those people who did that are the last remnants of humanity. They've won. So really, the only choice here would be destroy humanity or not. Sure, the humanity that lives would be all terrible, terrible people, but probably years of working with their hands might help, but still, that's what the decision actually boils down to. But they never presented like that, of course. Instead, they just presented us, we gotta save people. Also blow up the rich white executives, but then we'll save the world. And it is the dumbest, the dumbest. Those are two. No, how many things did I mention? I mentioned more than two, but I have many, many other things to point out in this that make no sense, that are so dumb, that totally derail the plot, that that make this one of the one of the most incoherent pieces of shit I've seen in a long time. But if I did that, I'd be here for an hour. And I may as well leave this up to some other critic, not gonna be me, because I don't want to watch the other movies, to just go into great detail about how everything in this movie is stupid. Nothing makes sense. Especially the ending. The ending is one of the stupidest, worst goddamn things I've ever seen. With so many horrible implications, so many bad things, and it is not even totally conclusive. Oh, surprise! This isn't technically the final chapter. Psych. Fuck. So yeah, no, I do not like this movie. I do not recommend you watch it. I don't normally suggest this, but if you're honestly curious, torrent that shit. Do not give these people money. Do not encourage them. They just released their bowels all over my face. I have to endure it because I'm a film critic, but none of you should have to. It is complete garbage. And there's nothing more to say about that. There's no redeeming factor to this movie. Not even as a dumb action film, because the action is filmed in a real shaky cam, 20 cuts a minute mess. So, yeah, nothing. No reason to enjoy this. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. So until next time, I'm Glenn Dyer, and you have been watching a Dyer-Situation.